Hello and welcome to another installment of Would That Shit Really Happen? My name's Luke, and this video is brought to you by my own thirst for knowledge and answers to how the world works. Who doesn't love a good shark thriller movie? We've had the classic Jaws, the terribly cringeworthy Sharknado series, and more recently, The Meg, starring everyone's favourite muscly Brit, Jason Statham. But none quite compare, I think, to Deep Blue Sea. I first watched this film with a bunch of nerdy friends in high school who were all interested in marine life and marine science. We were all so engrossed in the film, and I personally think that, as a film, it is great, but as a scientifically accurate film, not so great. And I'll explain why in due course. In this 1999 film, researchers led by Dr. Susan McAllister in an underwater facility have discovered a possible cure to Alzheimer's disease in the brain tissue of DNA-altered mako sharks. I'm sure you can figure out where things start to go wrong, can't you? Underwater facility, sharks, sound like an overused plot line to you. Well, you'd probably be right. That may very well be the case, but I do enjoy a good shark thriller as much as the next guy. With that being said though, I do think it is worth covering my top 3 would that shit really happen moments. Number 1, backwards swimming sharks. Okay, so sharks cannot swim backwards. That's just a well-known thing. And if not, well, the filmmakers made sure that the viewers did know when this happens.
It's impossible. Sharks do not swim backwards, they can't.
The morphology of the mako shark's pectoral fins actually make it physically impossible for it to swim backwards. In fact, their bodies are specifically designed to move forwards. Another reason for the forward-moving motion of sharks is oxygen acquisition. Now, whilst some sharks can sit on the ocean floor and pump water through their gills by moving their mouth, a process called buccal pumping, these mako sharks cannot. And this is why they need to swim forwards, in order to keep water flowing through their gills so they can extract oxygen from the water to use in respiration. So, in summary, the reasons these mako sharks in the film should not swim backwards and should only move forward are their physical morphology restricts them from doing so, and their need for oxygen. Number 2, actively seeking out and hunting humans. As you can probably guess what I'm going to say, sharks don't do this either. I mean, unless they're the DNA-altered mako sharks in Deep Blue Sea, of course. Now, there are numerous scenes in the film where the sharks actively try and kill the humans at the research facility. But one of the most famous scenes is the one starring the one and only Samuel L. Jackson.
So we're not going to fight anymore. We're going to pull together and we're going to find a way to get out of here. First, we're going to seal off this.
Now, I will cover my own ass by saying, yes, there are people that have been bitten and or killed by sharks in real life, in the real world, but sharks don't actually hunger for human flesh. Often they will see the silhouette of somebody swimming from below and get curious, thinking that person is a seal or other marine animal. They, more often than not, take a bite and then lose interest. In fact, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, sharks evolved long before humans even existed and have remained unevolved as apex predators for a long time. So humans are not part of their normal diets. But with all that said, I suppose these are DNA-altered sharks in Hollywood, so really anything is possible, I guess. Number 3, a roaring shark. So this was funny. Now, obviously in the heat of the moment, you don't take too much notice because Saffron Burrows is literally about to become shark chow. But the shark roars, even though sharks cannot actually roar. In fact, they lack any kind of vocal organs. In an underwater world where whales make whistles and calls and dolphins make clicks and squeals, they're sometimes known as silent hunters or stealthy travelers and don't really have any other reason to communicate with other sharks because they're solitary animals. Their senses of smell, sight, hearing, and ability to sense even the smallest of electrical impulses with receptors just below the skin, called the ampullae of Lorenzini, allow them to hunt efficiently and know the whereabouts of other sharks. Once again, despite the misrepresentation of a number of scientific points, this movie has been a favourite of mine for years. Even with backwards swimming, human devouring, roaring sharks. And that's it, I'm done. Next time on Would That Shit Really Happen, I'll be covering a film that I hope most of you know, and that's The Day After Tomorrow. My name's Luke, and this is another instalment of Would That Shit Really Happen, brought to you by my own thirst for knowledge and answers to how the world works. This is a university project based on science communication in the web and on the internet, so if you don't mind, please hit the like and subscribe button and share with anyone who you think might be interested in this movie.